Okay, you're good.
Awesome. So, for our working session today, we are going to be going over Release 2, Cycle 2, UAT feedback that you guys provided, and have a couple questions, want to get some clarification on some things. But we also wanted to note that our meeting on May 8th, we're going to be canceling that. The WIOA Summit is going to be taking place, and we have lots of folks who are going to be attending that, and they're, getting great information and participating. So we're going to cancel, not plan on meeting virtually that day just because we're not going to have a lot of folks around to be able to attend virtually. So you will see that cancellation coming soon. And then for today's working session, I'm going to jump over to, our UAT notebook and walking through all the feedback that was provided. Um, so with our quick search, and so I also have this open. So when we're using the quick search on the customer and application listing, we don't have the quick search hitting the nickname database because we are just searching on first name, preferred name, or last name. And when we hit that nickname database, if somebody puts in a last name or something or multiple names, we are getting lots of results back. So we hit the nickname database when we use the full search and can ensure that we're bouncing that off of first name results. The nickname database is only set up to be first names. We're not doing any kind of nickname stuff with last names. And if you guys have questions or comments, definitely feel free to unmute or type those in the chat. I'm going to get my chat pulled up right now so I can keep my eye on that. And then Crystal, I have a couple of these, so I'll point them out as we get to them. Would you be able to either put a screenshot in here or email one to the BA team, myself or Taylor, regarding the comment you left right here? We were not able to replicate that. So we just want to make sure we're doing what you were doing, and seeing what you're seeing so we can take a closer look at that with the devs. Is Crystal on? I just assumed she was, but I should probably make sure.
No, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay, perfect. No, you're good. Um, and this is another one we were going to see if you could provide a screenshot. Also, we had issues replicating the results. We were seeing all the results pull back, so we thought we might be doing something different. And then a search using Greg turned up the same list, whether quick search or full search. So the quick search is using a contains logic and should pull back the results that it has, but we wanted to know if you were expecting something else. So when we do Greg, all of these contain Greg. So that's why we're getting these 4 results. I just wanted to clarify if there was a issue here or what this was.
Well, to be honest with you, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
I'm like, what on earth? I think I was asking, is it supposed to pull back exactly the same stuff? Or I think that's what I was doing. I don't know at this point. But if it's capturing everything, then that's the important thing. So
Yeah, and one of the things we're doing, and I mentioned this later on in our notes. Taylor was helping with these too. Um, we are in the process of ranking the results by relevance. So I searched Greg, so my Gregs are more relevant than my Gregory. So we had to do a couple of steps because we are also very concerned about load time. So we actually migrated customer data from IWDS and parsed out all the PII, and migrated the like bare minimum records into test. I think we are looking at like trying to get over 5,000 records so that as we're ranking these, we can also consider load times in the way that we rank and make sure we're doing that in a way that the results pull back quickly. So we actually have in our Sprint 31, we have a card to look at starting to rank the relevance of the order. So they'll have a score of how relevant they are based on all the different search criteria you put in. And then we'll rank them in order accordingly to help make the results more relevant to what you put in. So that is something that we have coming to try to make the search a little more intuitive. We know we want it to be expansive because we don't want to miss customers, but we also want to give you a quick way to find who you're looking for if you know who you're looking for. Um, okay, so it was mentioned that it was preferred to default to the full search. I wanted to have folks vote on this call on do you prefer the quick search or the full search? I've heard from several folks different options, so we're going to use today's call. I would like you guys to type in the chat if you would prefer to use the full search. The full search is more targeted. It's trying to like you know their first and last name. You want to get at that person to get into their record. Where the quick search is searching against first name, preferred name, and last name. It doesn't fully know what you're searching for. We do have MVP plus enhancements for the quick search that will come down the road to make it even more intuitive. But it's more for you to do a larger check to see like, are they in this list at all with minimal information that I have on them? So go ahead and type in the chat, or if you have questions on on functionality before you vote, definitely let me know. But type in the chat full or quick for your vote.
I'm sorry, Taylor, I kind of missed that. Are you, or Olivia, are you um saying to vote as far as which one would show up as the default, or are you
Default,
considering?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll
I
keep
didn't
both.
considering getting rid of one or the others.
No, it'll just be the one we default to. They'll both be there.
Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, they'll both be there. I
Oh,
see
okay.
that. I see that in a question too in the chat.
No,
I
you
have a
probably
question.
said it, just missed it. Sorry.
I have a question about that too. If you do have full as the default, can you just put in the little amount of information like you do?
Yeah.
See,
Yep. If you
that's
could just do,
yeah, I was just going to say that. That's exactly why I made that comment in the first place, because
yeah,
if you can just put in a few letters like what you do in IWDS with a full search, then I'm always going to default to that in order to catch everything rather than doing the quick search and getting stuff that I don't want.
So you
yeah.
can still put in a small amount in full and just like quick, it's just
You're just searching that on the first name versus on everything because you've identified you want that for the first name. So that's you could put in a small, you put in just like the first letter. You could put in
so then what's the value for quick? Because I voted quick, but it sounds like full is quick and full.
so quick
Well, I
is
think quick, if
searching
you put the name, you could
first
put
and
first or
last.
last name, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes it kind of quick. You just put like, I think I know this person. I think I know their first name, or
But could you just put last name in for full search and get something or no?
You could, but you need to put it in the last name field.
Right.
And the quick was a
Oh,
lot of people had said like, oh, well, people often mix up first and last name. So the quick
oh,
is
I
there to
see.
kind of be a catch-all. It'll search across all the different names to help find those people.
I see. I see. Okay. Well, then I'm going to still keep my vote as how I voted.
Okay. I think, let me see, one, two.
I'm Lisa, by the way.
Yeah. Two, quick, full.
pretty
Um,
close.
it was even. So I'm gonna go back and retally these and see if we got a couple more in and it split it. Full, full, quick, quick, three quicks, quick, full, quick. Oh. All right, we're even. We're 7 and 7. I know I have more than 14 people on the call. If we want to go ahead and get some more votes in.
Yeah, I don't want to be the tiebreaker, but is the advantage of the full search is that it'll give you more, there's a better chance you will capture the person to where like maybe that person's in there, but you may not find them if you do a quick search. And in that case,
A quick
maybe,
search is going to pull back more results typically because
oh,
it is searching more name field. It's searching it across the first, last, and
right.
preferred name.
Oh,
The
okay.
full search is a little more targeted. It's looking
Right.
for this is part of the first name or preferred name, and this is part of the last name.
But
Got
if
it.
you go into the quick search, you can still add their date of birth too, kind of sort of like a full, but it just makes
Mhm.
it quicker for you to just type in the name there. That's really the only difference, right?
Yes, and right now the ranking is going to help this because right now if I put in date of birth, it doesn't necessarily give me the ones most relevant to Greg with this date of birth. It kind of pulls back all records that are a mix of the two. But we're going to introduce that ranking that will say like somebody who matches on name and date of birth has a ranking of, 98 if maybe the name is like off by one letter versus somebody who only matches on name and not date of birth is a ranking of 50% match or whatever. So that ranking, if you guys play with it, you'll see that, well, like it's not very intuitive yet. The ranking is really going to get us that next step to make it more intuitive. Mike, you changed your answer to no.
Yep.
What
I
does
mean,
that
change.
mean?
I mean, I meant to put quick.
Okay. I was like,
Sorry about that.
all right. All right. Well, I think we've got a lot of votes. Taylor or Lynette, would you mind counting those up while we kind of move on to the next thing and we can see where we came up with. We're not, like I said, we're not getting rid of these. It'll just be which one, like when you load the page, is it set on? And we know that in future enhancements of 2.0, we want to allow things to be more customizable. So looking at allowing you to customize and like set your column and your order and different, like possibly even have this set to what you prefer and save to your account. So just because we default it as one way now doesn't mean when we get more customization out in future iterations that we won't be giving the field like the ability to tailor this more to themselves and the way they want to use the system. Okay. I will keep that red and update it once I know what our results are. And then we can create a card if we need to change that. Um, so I did a search of Sam and got expected results for both quick and full. Of course, there are a few applications to test. However, when I choose one of the returns, it opens it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this was something we are going to explore with the devs as a future enhancement on, so whenever we're on our customer and application listings and you go into one, when you go back to the customer list, it defaults back here. If you would have pulled them from the application list, it still defaults back to the customer list. Um, we'll have to talk to the devs for a future enhancement about if there's a way they can use that button to go back to whatever you were on. Um, it gets a little messy if you start clicking in other things and your path gets further and further from just one click away from where you were at. So I have a note there to talk to them when we meet with them on this work. So I just have that here that I need to talk to them. All right. We are gonna go with the full. We have 12 full and it looks like 10 quick because we had one more come in. Perfect. That was updated. All right. Um,
I'm sorry, which one?
full. We had 12 vote full, 10 vote quick. right, and then we have, this is only a feature on the. Okay, so the icon, so when we're doing a duplicate customer search, we have the preview feature. And I just have a note that we'll talk with the devs and see if we can do a oh, I forgot I'm on UAT. Not as familiar with the customer list. There we go. When we're on the duplicate customer search, you can kind of preview the record a little bit before going into it or changing your search. It was requested that we look at having something like that on our main customer search page here. And we can talk to the devs about the ability to do that in a future enhancement to be able to preview instead of like going in here and previewing and going back. So you can kind of maintain your position. So I just have that flagged. And then, so we had a comment about the calendar picker here, which we need to talk to about the devs too. We have changed the calendar picker pretty significantly since our release 1 UAT. Originally we had to type in like 02-01-20, I'm sorry, like 1999, in order for it to save. And we did make some enhancements. So we have logic in there that if you put in 2199, it'll know that it needs to add the zeros and the 19, and it knows when to split it from 19 to 20. So I need to talk with them about, right now it does require you put the dashes. So like if we put something like, I don't know, 1199, it can kind of better understand what's going on. So that's a question for them on what can we do to possibly make it so we don't have to put the dashes in there and you can just like put in a bunch of numbers. I don't know the limitations of the like data input selection they're using to allow for that. So that's just a question for them that we need to dig into.
Oh, I think I remember that was discussed on another call on another screen or something where they could make the field where if you put like sometimes with phone number fields, you see this on websites as well, but like if you put like if you make it so the fields will take only 2 digits and then the slashes are already in there. But then I guess then I get like up to 2 digits, but then maybe I guess then you'd have to put the zeros in. But I didn't know if it was possible to do something like that as well. Like just put like as soon as you type, you can either tab manually over into the from the month to the date to the year, or some of them, there's some sites where it has the feature like, as soon as you type like 2 numbers, it'll automatically tab you over. The slash is already there, so I don't know if those are possible to do.
Yep, they're all possible. You lose different features, so we could do it where the slashes are there, but then you're tabbing, so we're getting away from folks only wanting to have to type one number, or you have to type the 2 numbers, but you don't have to type the slash. So there's different ways we can do it. I just need to talk to the devs about what's possible and then put it to locals and state to make the decision on if we change it, if we invest the dev time to change it again, or what would be the best approach for that. So it's all possible. It's just, what are we going to go with and what are our options that I need to get from them?
So this was me Lisa, that had asked that. Just as a background, so that 5/31/2000, a lot of times, like if I'm putting information in, I just do it the 0531. So and then it automatically just puts it in. The thing is you have to remember to put in the 0.
Yeah.
Or the 4, but you get kind of used to that and you just put the whole thing in and you don't have to worry about a slash, or you don't have to worry about tabbing.
Yeah.
It seems easier to do. But I mean, certainly that has to be put to vote, but just in my experience in putting in a lot of services and different things into the systems that I've done, that tends to be the easiest way.
Okay. Yeah, we actually had a couple other comments about the calendar picker later, further down on this too. So we had a couple
Okay.
of questions about it. So we will, I'll get our kind of what are our options, and then we'll look at circling back to this. Making sure the state is good with investing more development time into changing this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. There's a question about once we get past the duplicate customer search and going into the create customer profile, there's a question about the accommodation question, and that we're actually changing that. Since I wrote this, we've already kind of looked at it, and that question is being changed to be clear. So it's not asking to fully participate in the program. I can't remember exactly what we're changing it to, but we do have a change request form at the state to get signed to make sure we can come back and change that question. So I will make a note to myself. We'll have a card for this, and I'll add the card here so we can track that as part of this too. Okay, perfect. There was a question about the options, understanding what these mean. The info bubble defines all of these. So this will be a training thing. So if people aren't sure what they mean, if they're talking through and somebody's like, I don't know, what is accessible workspace? They can hover over this info bubble and it defines each of the options here. So as we do training on the system, that'll be something we include on how they can use these info bubbles, which typically will further define information in the questions and answers. Okay. I will need to talk with the state. We're meeting to kind of finalize some application stuff, and as part of that, we're making sure everything is good with the create customer record as the data pulls over. So we'll looking at if this should be required, or if they're okay with requiring that. This is the date thing that was addressed above. So again, we're coming back to that after we get some information with devs. There was a bug, so we did create a bug card for this one to get this addressed so it can get put into, I think it might be in our sprint or going into our next sprint.
I encountered that same issue, but sorry, I didn't put anything in the notes because it was already there. But I probably should
No,
have.
that's perfect.
I should have probably put a comment though, just so you know that it happened, that more than one tester did experience it. So sorry about that.
No, that's perfectly fine. And that's one of the reasons we want the notes for everybody to be able to see. So if there is a common bug, we don't have to have everybody document it and screenshotting it. You can see, oh, if somebody's already got it, and you could just put like, I got this too, and your initials or something at that comment. So you guys aren't spending time doing something we've already tracked. So Paul, this was another one. We were not able to replicate this. When we typed Sammy into the first name and the full search, we got the results back. So we were wondering if you could provide a screenshot of what you were seeing so we can get that resolved. Then the same with the second comment, for your second example, we weren't able to get that. The nickname database, is hitting, the full search. So we wanted to see what was going on there too. So if you could send screenshots, if you guys have issues accessing this, if you need to come back and look at your stuff to get those screenshots, definitely let us know and we'll make sure to get it resolved for you. This, I'm gonna kind of breeze through this one, but this is where the ranking is gonna come into place. So right now it's kind of just pulling all the results back and not really ranking them in an order that is showing you the most relevant at the top. that is our next big step to get this customer and application listing more intuitive and user friendly. I think we have the card. Where our first step is we're gonna, like I said, we're doing some research on what we want to do and the impacts to load time. And if that goes well, then we will implement a solution the following sprint. But we're very much want to be mindful of load times. We don't want it to take, 30 seconds or a minute or something when you put in a name and click search for it to pull back customers for you. And there are a lot of customer records in the system. So we want to be very mindful of that. And that's why we're taking the time to do a little research to make sure our load times aren't going to be impacted. Let me scoot this one down. Okay. So, yeah, so when you click go to the customer record, at the bottom, you are navigating away from the duplicate customer search. And that is why we give you the preview, because if this is not the customer you want to go to, you should use the other preview or change your search and not use the go to customer record button. By clicking this, you are going into the record and away from the duplicate customer search. Initially, we didn't have the preview. We just had you going straight there, and that was causing some issues because then you had to go all the way back and redo your search, which we didn't want you guys to have to do. So we added this preview icon. So if there's any more information you guys need on the preview to determine if this is the customer and you should go into the record, definitely let us know and we can expand that preview. We know we're still building out a lot of the data points around the customer profile, career plan, and application. So as we get more of those, this preview might need to expand to help us identify if this is the correct customer during our duplicate check search. I'm gonna scoot some of these down. All right. These were answered above regarding the ranking to have more relevant results, and then the comment about not needing to use the slashes for dates fields. I don't believe SSN requires it. It's only collecting the last 4. But for the date, again, we'll be looking into that. This was just a good comment. And then this comment was oh, the image file for us failed to like upload on this. And so we couldn't really see what was going on, but we were wondering if you meant John only shows in the first name of 2 of them, and the other 2 are Jack and Jackie. In our nickname database, Jack is a nickname of John, and Jackie contains Jack. So that's why those records were pulled back when you were looking at that. And then I just put a screenshot of our nickname database. I know it's really hard to see. You have to like zoom in, but it just shows like for John, here are the list of the nicknames that are used there. So if that doesn't answer what you were looking at, let us know. And we'll see if we can get another screenshot from you to figure out what was going on there. There was a question about the accommodation question, and like I said above, we did reword that, so that might make this a little more clear. But there was a question about why we were asking this and if it was getting too personal too fast, especially if they're just trying to like get information or something. So the question is to create a customer record or profile, and it is the first question because we don't want to ask them all these questions and then at the end see if they need an accommodation and find out that they have a hard time speaking English, or they have difficulty seeing or hearing or something like that. And we just made this experience more complicated for them because we didn't know that before we started asking them all these questions. So that is why the state really wanted these kinds of questions first, so we can make sure we're assisting them in the best way possible. And as I mentioned above, we're rewording that question to be a little more clear and customer centered. This is being updated. We have a card to make sure name is searching first name and preferred name. So we don't collect full SSN, but we do allow you to search on last for SSN. We don't collect it at create customer record, but we do have to remember that we are migrating over tons of historical customers that will have SSNs. And then as we create applications and stuff, we're going to be working to gather that information. So we still want to allow you guys to search customers that might be in the system based on SSN, even though we don't initially add that at create customer record. So I'm going to mark these screens that we talked through. The customer profile is still under development, so a comment was left on that. It's still under development, and we will have a UAT session just on that. So we noted this comment, and we'll circle back to going into that more when we do that UAT. There is a question about not all LWIAs are listed. We're still hooking up, so like whenever we're looking at the customer list, not all of them have LWIAs. When we go live, any customers with applications and that have been associated to an LWIA will be there. We're still hooking all that up on our end, and the only way to put an LWIA there now is to do it manually on the back end when we fake create an application. So that's why it's that way right now. We created a story for this, looking into the preferred name stuff again, making sure it's part of the table and hitting as part of the search. So we are addressing that. This is another bug that we addressed above about the date of birth. We're having an issue with the date of birth when it's searched on, and being able to get it to pull back results and use that search. So another bug here that we're fixing around the date of birth filter. And you can see for a lot of these, when you see like a bug and then a number, that's the card that's created for the developers to address that. And then we also had one about SSN. So we have a bug card for that one as well. The SSN filter. For our duplicate customer search, we have a card created for the middle name when we display. We're also adding a feature to see, I think we might have already got this one done, or at least in test. Whenever whenever a customer record is created or updated, we added a record information link in our footer. So it appears on various pages that you can click. And when you click it, it'll tell you who created the record for whatever you're on. So if you're like on a customer, it'll tell you who created the customer and the date and time, and it'll also tell you who last updated the customer and the date and time. So we're incorporating that throughout the entire system. Um, another comment on the customer profile, it's still being developed, but that was noted. Then we have a bug card for this one for results that should have come back that didn't. So getting that addressed. Customer does not come up in quick search with the nickname or with the nickname added information of the date of birth. So the quick search doesn't use the nickname database, the full search does. But with our ranking, having the date of birth and if the name is similar, it should pull those results back and higher to the top. Check in the chat just to make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm assuming you can create duplicate customers. We will never stop you from creating the same person, same name, date of birth, because we cannot guarantee there are not two Joe Millers born on March 7th of 1993. But what we do is, so this is Olivia Test with a date of birth 3/7/1993. This came back because I had at least two matching. The whole point of the duplicate search is to pull back potential matches. And so when I go to add a customer, as a career planner, whoever's adding, I have to verify that this is a new customer and does not match results that are found, and then it shows me those results. So it's on the career planner or whoever's adding the customer to ensure they're not adding a duplicate. We did not want to set the system up to prevent that because, as I said before, we cannot guarantee there are not two people with the same first, last name and date of birth. We will, however, be having duplicate system checks and reports. So when we do find people who have like the same SSN, we can flag those and get those resolved quickly and not have them sit out in our system as two separate records until somebody stumbles across it and find it. So we do know there are a few data points that that are unique to an individual, but we are not collecting those on create customer record. Those aren't collected until later in the application. So that's why we want to have a continually running system check that's looking for that. We do not currently have a state ID listed. If that's something we need to explore, we definitely can. Andy, could you flag that and we'll make sure to discuss that when we meet with the Chicago team? So this was just saying the first, last name and date of birth, which two results, one is similar but different date of birth. As I mentioned before, we're looking for two matching pieces. So Robert Brown is matching on our first and last name, even though the date of birth is different here. And then Robert and Brown, or Robert and the date of birth, or I'm sorry, right here, the date of birth. So this is intentional. We wanted at least two matching data points, and the first name does hit the nickname database, and if it matches on a nickname, that counts. Any questions? That gets through all the UAT. We have created a handful or two of bugs and user stories out of this. And we do have a little bit of work that we'll take back to our devs to get a little bit of technical insight and direction on, as well as take it to our state and get a little insight on scope from them on some of these. We have covered our working session for today, so I'm going to open things up to any other questions you all have before we close out for the day. All right, well, if nobody has any questions, we can go ahead and let you all go. We will be, our next planned session will be for the 15th. I'm sure we will have some work to get in front of you guys. Then we are making some great progress on the WIOA pre-screening and application work that we're doing. I'm hoping to get some of that stuff to you guys at some point this month. So know that is coming up. And then I know our other BAs have items they're working on. The training plan review and edit we were going to talk about today, but during one of our discovery sessions yesterday, we identified a few more changes we want to make before we get it to you guys. So that will be coming soon as well. With that, I will let you all go and get back to your day, give you back a little bit of time, and really appreciate your guys' time and feedback on the work. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.